Welcome back, my friends, to TFT Hyperroll with Artark. Today's build is one I kind of stumbled on while I was doing my ranked matches, and then I decided to see, will it work in Hyperroll? And, well, you'll see the answer in a moment, but before that, graphic. You know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, do things to help the YouTube algorithm, lives on the weekends, noon, Pacific time, and yeah, let's get started. Now, I want to be honest and say I did force this build because I went into this game with a plan. This was also the first time I tried it in Hyperroll, so I haven't had enough time to test it yet to see if it is forceable. I didn't want to do it in lives on the weekend for lack of spoiling this video, but safe to say Celestial Blessing is important, and then, yeah, we're gonna get Infiniteam. And we will warp through these first couple of fights because, yeah, you've seen this a million times, and Infiniteam is a good way to get into this build. It is going to be using the Sureshots, so you might as well start off that way, but it's going to take a slightly different turn after that. I could have picked up Draven for this, but since I already had Ashe, I didn't need him, but Draven can be the item holder. We are putting together the Sureshots, so Samira is going to be the carry, so you'll need the Samira items. And for me, best in slot for Samira is Infinity Edge, Last Whisper, and Hand of Justice. That gives her a 100% crit chance and enough healing that she'll be able to stay in the fight. And the early part of this is going to play out just like Infiniteam Sureshots, where you're bringing Infiniteam in to create the portal, and then your Sureshots you're getting together with Ashe or Draven in this case as the item holder. Item here is going to be the Tear of the Goddess because that will give us the Hand of Justice that we can put on Ashe. And depending on the star level of your champions, usually Infiniteam is a quick start build, so you usually end up towards the top of the health charts. This build will pivot in a moment and you'll start to see how. Before that, we go to our second set of augments, which again, this is a Sureshot build, so the mana tempering is going to be the best one because it stacks attack upon attack. Now this next part is really a game time decision. I ended up with a 2-star Draven and I only had a 1-star Ashe. So at this point, Draven is going to be a better unit than Ashe, so we go ahead and bring him in. Notice I've brought in Wukong to serve as now a second defender, and I'm starting to build Jax on the bench. Now, because Draven is an ace, these items will work for him. They're not necessarily his best, but he will do a lot of damage with them. Ultimately, though, he will have to come out because you can't have just 2 aces on the team. It's 1 or 4. During the NPC round, we found our Samira and completed the items for her, so as you can see, she is now complete. We've also brought in a Riven, so we now have 3 defenders in front and are still running the 3 Infiniteam so we can keep the portal open, which luckily is in the front line, so we're getting an extra frontliner. And since Mecha Prime is not that common a trait that people use, I was able to get a gold 3-star Wukong, which is certainly going to help the front line, but I find it pretty easy to do. The key in this is getting Garen, and once you get him, you just load him up with as many tank items as possible. If you can put this together, Warmog's Bramble Vest and Dragon's Claw, that's kind of the perfect combination to turn him into a super tank. Final augments here are not really conducive to anything we're doing, but Sunfire Board will work since Sureshots can take things down quickly. Now, I decide to rush it in this case, mainly because I got the 2-star Jax, but your goal is then to create the Mecha Prime on Garen. So he becomes a super tank up in front, while your backline is going to be Sureshots that can take everything out. And I really should have waited until 2-starring the Garen. He's just not going to be as effective when he's at 1-star. At 2-star, he's going to get a lot of additional health, and that is the key, is he's going to stand in front and then just keep things stunned while your backline takes him out. For the next fight, we have the 2-star Garen. We move Samira, who is also now 2-starred, over behind him, so it's hard for things to get to her because he is going to stun everything near him. and then see as he moves in, losing very little health, he holds things in place and the team takes it out. And then again, I can't stress strong enough having a friend at Riot, because the real key to this build is getting Ezreal in. Because once you can get ultimate Ezreal, you can replace your Lucian and then bring in Riven, and now you have 4 defenders up front, and then your last person is going to be bringing in Ashe. Item-wise, we are looking for Ezreal items now, so AD is king. Deathblade will be fantastic for him, so we can go ahead and pick that up. This next set has not much that we need. Sunfire Cape will do us no good. We already have the Sunfire board. We don't have AP champs, so Archangel Staff, meh. Rapid Fire Cannon, not really necessary for this build, so Ionic Spark, probably the best bet. Put it on Shen, so at least we're punishing the front line a little bit more on their side. And in so many ways, this solves some of the problems I had with the general Infiniteam build, in that your front line was weak. You now have this giant Garen that is holding up and keeping things stunned. And thanks to our giant dancing Garen, we are now into the top 4. Now, if the portal had been in the back row, that would have been fine, because that little Shen isn't doing much. Instead, you would put Ezreal on it, and you would have multiple Ezreal ults going across the board. Really, Garen is the tank that is going to hold everything up, and your backline does the killing. And we are headed into our final 2 items, and we're really hoping for Ezreal items, but these are not them. So in this case, any chance to beef up the front line a little bit will work. Take a note, though, as we look at the last items and grab the second Deathblade. There's 2 people left now. It's me and one other, and they have not lost at all this game. Luckily, I have a champion duplicator, and now I have 2 3-star units that are all going to merge into Garen to make him super strong. And we meet the ever-popular Laser admin team, and they are set up really, really well with great augments: Thrill of the Hunt, Yasuo, increased damage augment, and Axiom Arc, so they're casting a lot. They are getting health back when they kill, but that Garen is really hard to get to, and in order to get to my Samira, they need to get through the Garen. So that's going to be tough. Now let's play a little what if a moment as you watch this team just get stuck on Garen. If this had been a hacker team, they would have been aiming at Samira and Ezreal in that corner. I could have easily brought Riven back to protect them. Here, everything ultimately converges on Garen. He's just standing in there and keeping them stunned, and then my backline can do the rest of the work and finish things off. It just becomes a really strong front line. One thing I really like about this build is that it's really strong for hyperroll because it fills out all 9 team members. 4 Sureshots, 4 defenders, 3 Infiniteam, 3 Mecha Prime. You need the 9 slots to do it. You don't often go to 9 in regular rank, so you stop this build early and you're missing one of those elements. But in hyperroll, you can end up putting the entire thing together and see how strong it is. And with a 2-star Ezreal now, the writing's really on the wall. He is going to be that much stronger with his ult. Garen is not getting weaker. They have an incredible team with a gold 3-star LeBlanc just doling out damage and a Warwick, but it's just not enough to overcome this, and it's GG for everyone. Give this build a try. I haven't tried forcing it since this game because I haven't had a chance, but it worked really well. Hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, have an absolutely awesome day.